In this tutorial, we're gonna have a look how we can create this simple menu and how we can create this button. So if I just click on this play button, as you can see, level 2 just loaded up and pretend this is our game or level 2. And before I jump into the coding part, I especially want to thanks Zitong, Xiao, FridaJosefin, Gustavo, Flores for donating in this month on Patreon. And if you want to do, guys, then you can do that. I have a link in the description, so you can go and check that out. And with that, you're gonna unlock so many benefits. Also, I have a course in the description on Unity 6 and C Sharp for complete beginners. You can also check that out. You're gonna get the link in the description. So without furthering delay, let's dive into this tutorial. So let's do that. So I'm gonna move over to my hierarchy. Let's right click or hit this plus icon. Let's go to UI and then canvas in the bottom. So now we are able to see our canvas, and I'm gonna select my canvas in the hierarchy, and let's press down F in order to focus on that. Firstly, we're going to create an empty game object, and we're going to make that game object as the size of our canvas, and we're going to create all of the buttons in that game object to keep our logic separate. So we will right click on this canvas game object. In the hierarchy, let's create an empty game object, and I'm going to call this game object to something like UI panel. So let's call it something like UI or UI panel. I'm going to call it UI, and let's go to inspector, then right transform, click over here and hold down alt on your keyboard and select this bottom right one. And as soon as we have chosen, we can see now this game object is just became as the size of our canvas, and now we are ready to create our buttons. So let's do that. So we're gonna select our UI, let's right click on it, let's go to UI. Basically we're just creating our buttons inside this UI game object. So that's why we're gonna right click on this UI game object. Let's go to UI and then scroll down to the bottom legacy, and then we're gonna choose this button, and I'm gonna call this button to something like play level or play button, something like that. So I'm gonna call this one play button. Let's call it play button, and we need to increase the size of this button in order to able to see it. So we're gonna select the rect tool from this scene view, and let's hold down alt on our keyboard in order to resize it from center. And I just want to replace this button sprite with something else. So if we select our button and then go to inspector, scroll down, in this image component we can see source image and UI, it says UI sprite. So you can just click over here in order to choose a different sprite, something like this one or this one or this one as well. But I'm gonna replace with mine one. Of course I will have a link in the description, you can go and check that out. So let's go to project tab for it. I'm gonna move over to my assets folder, then sprites folder, and then UI1 folder, and I have a lot of buttons over here as you can see. So I'm gonna select one of button from here. I'm gonna select something, let's select this one. I'm gonna select that, go to inspector, and then click on this open sprite editor. So what we need to do, we can see we have more than one sprite, so we need to split individually. So we're gonna select sprite mode to multiple in the inspector, and to get rid of blurry we need to scroll down and choose this filter mode to point no filter to get rid of blurry. And after doing all of these things, click on this apply button, and now as soon as we click apply, the blurry is gone by now, and we need to slice individually. So in the top left you can see slice button, so just click there and select automatic to grid by cell count, or you can just leave it to automatic as well, but I'm gonna split grid by cell count. And let's count how many columns and rows we have. So we have one row and four columns, so we're gonna put four columns and one row. Let's click on this slice and then click on this apply button in the top right in sprite editor tab, you can see. So I'm gonna select my game view once again, and if we go to that sprite sheet and then click on this arrow, we can see the individual sprite. So we're gonna select one of them, and we're gonna replace the image with that. So let's suppose I'm gonna select this one. So I'm gonna select my play button in the hierarchy, and let's select this first sprite or that button sprite, and I'm gonna drag it over to this source image component in this button. And now as soon as we drag it, we can see now the image just gets replaced with this one, and we can just click on this set native size, in order to just resize that. Or you can just simply hold down shift key on your keyboard, and then you can just scale this button, and it will scale to the width and height with same size as you can see, or with same ratio as you can see. So you can hold down shift on your keyboard in order to resize it perfectly in the width as well as in the height. And after doing that, I'm gonna drag it my button somewhere over here, and we not able to see our text, so we need to increase our text size. So let's do that. So I'm gonna select my text underneath my button in the hierarchy, and let's select the text, and I'm gonna increase the font size something around 100. And if you do have a font, then you can just drag it over to this slot, and I'm gonna select font style to bold, and instead of saying button, I'm gonna say something like play. Also, I want to change the text or the font of this button. So I'm gonna move over to my project tab, assets, and then fonts folder, and I'm gonna drag this font into this font slot. As soon as we drag it, we can see the font is immediately get changed. And what I want to do, I want to choose a different color. So I'm gonna choose something this color. You can just go with any color that you would like to go with. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna increase the font size a little bit, something around like 150. And I just want to drag it a little bit up this text. So I'm gonna select my text underneath my button, and I'm gonna drag it a little bit up. Now it seems pretty much fine, and we can just duplicate this button by pressing down Ctrl D underneath our UI game object. So we're gonna select our play button, and let's press down Ctrl D in order to duplicate that. And I'm gonna move this one in the bottom somewhere over here, and I'm gonna call this button to something like exit. So this button just gonna be exit, so we're gonna call it exit button. And also we need to change the text inside of this button as well. Instead of saying play, we're gonna say something like exit. So let's select the let's select the text underneath our exit button, and we're gonna change the text with exit, something like that. Now this seems pretty much cool as you can see. Or we can simply name this UI game object to something like menu UI. So let's call it something like that. So I'm gonna call it menu button, and that's it. Basically this is sorry, not menu button, this is gonna be menu UI. So we're gonna call it, I'm really apologize for it, so I'm gonna call it menu UI. Now it's fine. So make sure you just make this menu UI as well a prefab, so we're gonna have the copy. So we're gonna select our menu UI game object underneath our canvas in the hierarchy, and let's drag it over to this assets folder, or you can simply just drag it over to this prefab folder if you just created your you created that prefab folder. So you can just drag it right there in order to keep your project clean. And now what we have to do, if I just click on this play button in the top and try to click on this play or exit button, you will see this will do nothing. So we need to hook this button with some certain function. So just wait for to compile. And now if I just go ahead and then click on this play button, as you can see this button doing nothing. So what we basically need to do, once we click on this play button, then we're gonna play our game, and once we click on this exit button, then we're gonna exit out our application or the game. So let's get out of play mode, and if I select any button, let's suppose this play button, then go over to inspector, scroll down, we can see we have a button component, and we can call a custom function over here underneath our button component. And you can see on click and it says list is empty. So we can call the function over here as well on click event. So whenever you're gonna click, we're gonna call a function over here. So we need to create a script first, then we're gonna do that. So let's make a script for it. So once we click on this play button, then we're gonna play our game, and once we click on this exit button, then we're gonna exit out our game. So let's do that. For it, we're gonna move over to project tab, then assets, and then scripts folder, and we can simply right click there, or you can simply right click on this assets as well, then go to create in the top, and then click on this mono behavior script. I already have created a script called level manager over here, you can see. So you can just name the script what you would like to name it, then you can just name it. And now we need to attach this script to our game object in hierarchy. So I'm going to select my menu UI game object, and I'm going to select that script and drag it over to this add component section. Basically you need to attach that, and we're going to double click on this to open it up in Visual Studio. And I'm gonna remove this update and start function, we don't need. Instead we're gonna make two function for those two buttons. But before you do, make sure you just go to top of your class and include this namespace. It's called using Unity Engine.scene management. So make sure you just include this namespace on top of your class. And now we're gonna make two function. So and make sure you just making this function public, because we're gonna call the function underneath our button. Basically once we click on this play button, then we're gonna call the function once we click on this play button. We're gonna create a play button function. So let's go to script. So we're gonna make it public. For function we need to type void, and we can call this function to something like play something like that. And I'm gonna make first play game. So let's call it play game. Let's make first backend and some curly brackets, and we're gonna copy this function by Control C, and we're gonna paste it in the down by Control V. And I'm gonna call this function to something like exit game. So we basically making two function, exit game. And now we are done. So once we click on basically once we call this play game function, that what we want to do, we want to play our game. So if I move to Unity, I already have created a scenes called play or level scene. So you can simply move over to this project tab, then assets, and then scenes folder, or you can simply go over to this assets folder as well. So just go there and then right click, then create, and then move over to this scenes. Basically scroll down a bit and then move over to scene section, and then click on this scene in order to create a new scene or the level that you want to create. So I already have created a level 2 scene over here, as you can see. So if I just double click on it, and I'm gonna click on this save button. So as you can see, this scene has only a text called level 2. Just pretend that this is our game, so you can create the scene. So I'm gonna move over to my menu scene by double clicking on it. So I want to load up that scene once we click on this play button. So we're gonna load up that scene, and let's go to script now. And in order to load up the scene that you want to load up, we need to use this scene manager dot load scene function. Sorry, you need to use this load scene function, load scene, and make first packet. And this scene manager dot load scene function, it's gonna take the name of the scene in quotation, or you can simply pass the build index of it. So how you can see the name of the scene or the build index of it, you need to move over to Unity and make sure we just rename the scene as you can see level 2. And make sure you just go to top of your file. So just click there and then click on this build profile, and you need to drag the scene over here. So we can see say open scene list. So just click there, and you have to drag the scene over here which you created. So in my case, I already created a level 2 scene, as you can see over here in my scenes folder. So we need to drag the scene in this scene list. So select the scene and drag it over here, and now we can see the name of the scene is level 2, and the build index you can notice in the right section, which is 3. So you can simply pass the build index of the scene, or you can simply or else you can simply pass the name of the scene, which is level 2, as you can see. So make sure you just drag all of the scenes in this scenes list. So you're gonna be in Windows section. So just click on this open scene list, and then you need to drag all of the scenes over here. So make sure you just do that, and after that you can take a look on the name of the scene as well as the build index of it in the right section. So the build index we can see is 3, and the name of the scene is level 2. So let's cut this tab and let's move to script now. So in this brackets we need to pass in quotation the name of the scene. So in our case level 2 or level 2, or what's you can simply pass the name build index of it without quotation. But I'm gonna pass this name of the scene which is in quotation. I'm gonna do level 2. So make sure you just spelling it correct, and then close that up with semicolon, and we're gonna press down Ctrl S in order to save our script. So now let's move over to Unity. So we will see, so we also need to call the function. We just created the play game function, so we also need to call the function. But when we're gonna call that function, once we click on this play button, so we're gonna call the function right there. So just wait for to compile, and once it's done, we are ready to do that. So just wait for to compile, and we're gonna choose our play button. So let's go to canvas, then let's go to menu UI and let's select this play button, then go over to inspector, scroll down and then click on this plus icon in the bottom in this button component, and you need to drag the game object in which game object you just attach your script. So in my case, you can see underneath our menu UI I just attached this level manager script. So I'm gonna select my this game object. So we're gonna select our menu UI game object. So let's select that and drag it right there, and as you can see it says no function. So let's click there, let's go to level manager script or level managers C# script, and over there we created the play game function as you can see. So make sure you just making it public or else you're not gonna be able to see over here. So we're gonna choose the play game function. So now whenever we're gonna click on this play button, then that function just gonna call out. Basically we just moving over to this level manager script and then we just calling this function. So now let's move to Unity and let's click on this play button, and we will see that. So whenever we're gonna click on this play button, you will see that basically this right over here we're gonna load up the level 2 scene. So if I just click on this play button, as you can see, as soon as we click, the level 2 scene just loaded up right away, because once we call clicking the play button, we just calling the play game function, and we do know what we have done inside that play game function. We just loaded up the scene as you can see over here, and now we have to work with exit button. So let's get out of play mode and let's make let's do the exit button function. So let's go to script. So in this exit button, what we have to do, we need to use this application dot quit function and then make this first bracket, then close that up with semicolon. But in Unity editor, you're not gonna able to exit out your application, or you're not gonna able to exit your application. But once you make your application totally, or you just build your completely, then click on this exit button, then that function just gonna execute. So we still want to check if it's perfectly working or not. So that's why before we quit, basically we want to check. For in order to check, we're gonna just gonna print out a message in the console if this function is perfectly working or not. So let's type debug.log in order to print out a message, and in quotation we're gonna say something like exit game. So let's call exit game and let's close that up with semicolon. You can put any message that you would like to go with in between this quotation. And now we're gonna press down Ctrl S to save our script, and let's move over to Unity. So we also need to hook that exit game function with our exit button. So basically once we click on this exit button, we're gonna call the exit function, and we do know what exit function is really doing. It's just exiting out our application, and we do know it's not gonna happen inside Unity editor, but once you made the build totally completely, then it's gonna work. So now we're gonna choose our exit button function in the hierarchy. Let's go to inspector, scroll down, and we're gonna click on this plus icon. So we need to drag the game object in which game object the script is sitting on or attached. So in my case, menu UI. So let's drag right there and let's click there, and we're gonna move over to level manager script or level manager C# script, and over there we created the exit game function as you can see. So we're gonna choose that. Means whenever we're gonna click on this exit button, that exit game function just gonna call, and we do know what we're doing inside that function. So I'm gonna select my console tab and let's click on this play button in the top by now. So whenever I'm gonna click on this exit button, you will see that exit game function will call, and we do know what we have done inside that function. So if I just click on this exit button, as you can see, as soon as we click, a message just getting pop up in the console says exit game. So whenever we clicking, and as you can see, we're not able to quit our application or exit our application in Unity editor. But once you made the build completely and then click on this exit button, it's gonna quit your application right away, or it's gonna exit your application or the game right away. So I'm gonna get out of play mode. I hope you get the idea that how buttons work and how you can make the menu UI right away. And make sure you select the parent game object. So in my case, menu UI, and go over to inspector, overrides, and then click on apply all. So the changes we made in this hierarchy inside this menu game object, it will be saved into this menu game object prefab as well. Basically where we drag it, it's gonna be saved right there as well. And I'm gonna press down Ctrl S in order to save my project. and I will see you in the next tutorial.